There is a woman walking alone, not because she is lost, not because she has been abandoned, but because she chooses to. Her steps are steady, her path is her own, and yet the world watches her with curiosity, with doubt, with whispered questions. Why is she alone, they ask. Is she waiting for someone? Is she searching for something? But she does not stop to answer. She does not explain, because she knows something they do not. She is not defined by absence. She is not waiting. She is not searching. She is simply living. For centuries, society has told women that they must be part of something greater than themselves, that they must belong to someone, be connected to another to have value. A husband, a family, a role within a structure designed long before they were even born. A woman alone, they say, is incomplete. A woman without a husband, they whisper, is missing something. But is she? Let us pause for a moment and ask ourselves, who decided that a woman walking alone is unfinished? Who declared that marriage is the ultimate measure of success? Who wrote the rule that love must come in the shape of a ring, a household, a shared name? Because history does not remember only wives. It remembers queens who ruled without kings. It remembers warriors who fought their own battles. It remembers poets, pioneers, inventors, revolutionaries, women who walked alone, not because they had to, but because they dared to. Even today, the world finds it difficult to accept her. She sits at the table without a partner and people shift in their seats. She moves through life on her own terms, and society wonders when she will settle down. They assume she must be lonely, she must be incomplete, she must be longing for something more. But what if she is not? What if she has already found everything she needs within herself? This woman does not need saving, she does not need validation, she does not need the world's approval to walk her path, because she is not half of a whole, she is whole. She is not waiting for her life to begin, it already has. So let us ask a different question. Instead of wondering why she walks alone, why not wonder at her strength? Instead of pitying her solitude, why not admire her independence? Instead of asking when she will find someone, why not ask how she found herself? Because the truth is, not all journeys are meant to be shared. Some are meant to be walked alone. And those who have the courage to do so, those who embrace solitude not as loneliness, but as freedom, those are the women who change the world. And so, as she continues walking step by step, mile by mile, forging her own path through a world that still struggles to understand her, she does not look back, because she is not missing anything. She is exactly where she is meant to be. Strength and independence define a woman who walks alone without a husband. She is not shaped by the absence of companionship, but by the presence of her own will. Her journey is not one of necessity or misfortune, but of choice and conviction. From the moment she steps into the world alone, she defies the expectations that have been placed upon her for centuries. Society has long dictated that a woman must be accompanied, that her value is intrinsically tied to the presence of a partner, that her completeness is measured by marriage, by children, by the role she plays in someone else's life. But she sees beyond these constraints. She understands that her worth is not something to be assigned to her. It is something she claims for herself. She walks with purpose, knowing that every step forward is a declaration of her autonomy. She does not seek validation from those who whisper about her choices, nor does she shrink under the weight of their assumptions. Strength, after all, is not loud. It is not boastful. It is the quiet confidence in one's ability to stand alone, to face life's uncertainties without a hand to hold, to navigate storms without someone offering shelter. Independence is not an act of rebellion, but an act of survival, of self-respect. It is the realization that she is capable, that she is enough. Her days are filled with the choices she makes for herself. She builds a life that reflects her desires, her ambitions, her values. If she succeeds, it is because she has worked tirelessly for it. If she stumbles, she does not look around for someone to catch her. She steadies herself, she rises, she moves forward. There is immense power in knowing that one's failures and triumphs are one's own. It is in this power that true strength lies. But to walk alone is not without its trials. The world has been unkind to women who do not conform. There will always be those who question, who doubt, who assume that she is incomplete. They will offer unsolicited advice, attempt to fix what they believe is broken. They will tell her that time is slipping away, that love is a necessity, that a woman's purpose is to be a part of something greater than herself. And yet she does not falter. She listens, she smiles, she nods, but she does not change. She understands that her journey is not theirs to dictate. A woman who walks alone is not bitter, nor is she lost. She is a force of nature, a testament to what it means to stand in one's own power. She does not need rescuing. She does not need saving. She is the architect of her own destiny, the keeper of her own heart. Strength and independence are not merely traits she possesses. They are the very essence of who she is. And with every step she takes, she proves that she is not defined by who walks beside her, but by the unwavering force of her own will. For centuries, tradition has dictated the path a woman must walk. She is expected to be a daughter, a wife, a mother. Her roles carefully assigned, her purpose intertwined with those around her. A woman without a husband, they say, is unfinished, a question left unanswered. But what if she chooses otherwise? What if she decides that her life is not to be tethered to another, but to be written by her own hand? To break tradition is not an easy feat. It requires more than just defiance. It requires an unshakable belief in oneself. From a young age, girls are taught that companionship is their destiny. Fairy tales end in marriage. Families plan for weddings before they plan for careers. And society holds up the image of the happy, fulfilled woman as one who is standing beside her husband. But the woman who walks alone sees a different vision. She understands that while love and partnership can be beautiful, they are not the only measures of a life well. She faces questions at every turn. Why is she alone? When will she settle down? The idea that she could simply be content on her own is unfathomable to many. People assume she is waiting, that she is searching, that she must be incomplete. They do not realize that she has already made her choice. Her solitude is not a pause before something greater. It is the destination itself. She builds her life not around another person, but around her own desires, ambitions, and values. She does not wait for permission to pursue her dreams. She does not ask for approval before shaping her future. She moves forward unburdened by the expectations that have held so many before her in place. But tradition does not bend easily. The world is not always kind to a woman who refuses to follow the script. There is a discomfort that lingers around her, a quiet judgment that follows her wherever she goes. In gatherings, she is the one with no ring to show, no stories of married life to share. In conversations, she is pitied rather than celebrated, as if her independence is a flaw rather than a triumph. Even those who admire her courage may whisper behind closed doors, wondering if she will regret her choices, if one day she will look back and wish she had followed the path expected of her. She does not waver. She knows that breaking tradition is not about rejecting love or companionship, but about rejecting the idea that she must have them to be whole. She redefines success on her own terms, crafting a life that brings her joy without needing it to be validated by another. She proves with each step she takes that a woman can walk alone, not because she must, not because she has failed to find someone, but because she chooses to, because she is strong enough. A woman who walks alone without a husband does not only face her own choices, but also the weight of the world's expectations. Society has long built an image of the ideal woman, one who finds fulfillment in marriage, who dedicates herself to a family, who moves through life with a partner by her side. But when a woman does not fit into this mold, she becomes a subject of speculation. People do not just see her as independent, they see her as someone who has deviated from the norm. They question her happiness, they assume her solitude is not by choice, and they place upon her the burden of proving that she is whole on her own. She encounters these challenges in both subtle and overt ways. At family gatherings, there are hushed conversations about why she has not yet settled down. Friends who once shared dreams of personal ambitions begin discussing their marriages, their children, their homes. And slowly, the woman who walks alone feels like an outsider. Invitations begin to dwindle, as if her presence serves as a reminder of an unfamiliar path, one that others do not understand, one that they perhaps fear. Some may offer unsolicited advice, suggesting that it is not too late, that she should be open to finding someone before time runs out. They believe they are helping, unaware that their words imply that her life, as it stands, is incomplete. There are also unspoken assumptions about her character. If she is successful in her career, some will say she chose work over love, as if the two cannot coexist. If she travels, they assume she is searching for something, perhaps meaning, perhaps a person. If she speaks confidently about her independence, they may think she is simply masking loneliness. In their minds, a woman without a husband must either be unfortunate or defiant, never simply content. The idea that she might have deliberately chosen her path is difficult for many to accept because it challenges what they have always believed. Even in the way the world is structured, there are reminders that she is different. A woman alone is often met with caution, questioned when she makes financial decisions on her own, pitied when she dines alone, subtly reminded in countless ways that life was designed with couples in mind. She must work harder to be taken seriously, to prove that she is capable, to show that she does not need the validation of a relationship to be fulfilled. Despite these challenges, she does not retreat. She moves forward with quiet strength, knowing that the world may never fully understand her choices, but that she does not need it to. She faces judgment without allowing it to define her. She stands firm in her independence without feeling the need to justify it. The challenges she faces are real, but they do not diminish her. Instead, they forge her into someone who does not merely exist outside of expectations. She rises beyond them. There is a stark difference between solitude and loneliness, yet people often confuse the two. Especially when they see a woman walking alone without a husband, they assume she must feel an absence, a void left unfulfilled by the lack of a partner. They wonder if she dreads coming home to an empty house, if she longs for companionship in the quiet moments, if she secretly wishes for someone to share her burdens. But they do not understand the power of solitude, the kind that is not born from rejection or circumstance, but from choice and self-awareness. For a woman who walks alone, solitude is not something to escape, it is something she embraces. In solitude, she discovers who she truly is, unshaped by the expectations or compromises that often come with relationships. She has space to think, to dream, to create a life that is entirely her own. She does not have to shrink herself to fit into someone else's vision. She does not have to adjust her rhythm to match another's pace. She moves through life freely, making decisions based on her own needs and desires, rather than through the lens of what a partner might expect from her. Many people fear being alone because they have never truly sat with themselves. They fill their days with noise, with distractions, with relationships that may not serve them, simply to avoid facing themselves in the silence. But a woman who walks alone has faced that silence. She has learned to be comfortable in it, to find strength in her own presence. She does not need constant validation or companionship to feel whole. Her self-worth does not come from being chosen by someone else. It comes from the deep understanding that she is already enough. Her solitude gives her the ability to explore life without limitations. She can travel without waiting for someone to join her. She can pursue a career without feeling the pressure to balance it with family expectations. She can spend her evenings however she pleases, whether lost in a book, painting, or simply enjoying the stillness of the night. She has time to nurture her own soul, to reflect, to grow in ways that many people never allow themselves to. She does not rush into relationships out of fear of being alone, nor does she settle for less than what she deserves. If she chooses love, it will be because she truly wants it, not because she needs it to complete her. because the world is built around connection and companionship. Solitude is often misunderstood. People project their own fears onto her, assuming she must be searching, waiting, longing, but she knows better. She knows that solitude is a gift, a privilege, a space in which she can thrive without restriction. It is in solitude that she finds her power, her peace, her clarity. It is in solitude that she builds a life that is not defined by anyone else but herself. History is filled with women who walked alone, not because they had to, but because they dared to. These women were pioneers, warriors, leaders, and artists who refused to be confined by the expectations placed upon them. They understood that walking alone did not mean walking without purpose. It meant choosing a path that was uniquely their own, a path that often required them to stand against tradition, societal norms, and even their own fears. Some of these women were queens who ruled without kings, making decisions that shaped entire nations. Others were scientists and inventors, dedicating their lives to discovery rather than domestic life. There were writers and poets who captured the human experience without ever marrying, proving that their legacy did not depend on who stood beside them, but on what they created. Each of these women, in their own way, showed the world that a woman's value is not determined by her relationships, but by her contributions, her resilience, and her unwavering commitment to her own journey. Despite their achievements, history often attempts to place these women in the shadow of what they lacked. People question why they never married, why they never had children, as if these absences define them more than their accomplishments do. A woman who walks alone is often remembered with an asterisk, as if she was missing something vital. But the truth is, these women were not missing anything. They were forging a different kind of life, one that did not require validation from a husband or a family to be meaningful. Even in modern times, women who walk alone continue to shape the world. They are entrepreneurs who build businesses from the ground up, proving that financial and personal success does not depend on being part of a couple. They are adventurers who travel the world on their own terms, experiencing life without waiting for someone to join them. They are activists who dedicate themselves to causes they believe in, without needing a partner to stand beside them to give their voice weight. They are creators, thinkers, and dreamers who know that their potential is limitless, regardless of whether or not they share their life with someone else. Walking alone requires a kind of courage that many do not understand. It means facing a world that constantly reminds women that they are expected to be part of something bigger than themselves, that they are meant to be nurturers, partners, caregivers. But the women who walk alone prove that they are something even more powerful. They are architects of their own destiny. They do not follow a script written by someone else. They do not wait for approval to live as they choose. They carve their own path, leaving behind a legacy that is not defined by who they loved or who loved them, but by the impact they made, simply by daring to exist on their own terms. A woman who walks alone without a husband is not lost, nor is she waiting to be found. She is a force of her own, standing tall against outdated expectations and proving that completeness is not defined by companionship, but by self-awareness, purpose, and choice. Her journey is not one of isolation, but of freedom. Freedom to build, to explore, to define success on her own terms. She does not need validation from society, nor does she seek permission to exist as she is. She is a testament to the power of independence, the strength of solitude, and the courage to live authentically. To every woman who walks alone, know that you are not incomplete. You are not lacking, and you are not defined by the absence of a partner. You are a pioneer in your own right, carving a path that is yours and yours alone. May you continue to walk forward with confidence, knowing that your worth is not determined by who walks beside you, but by the fire that burns within you. Good luck on your journey wherever it may lead. Walk boldly, stand proudly, and never let the world convince you that you are anything less than whole. Thank you.